Yep, it's me again, but you missed me from yesterday for the entire afternoon. Anybody? Yeah, both of us just on commentate forever, never leaving. This is life now. Here to prove. Yeah, it was Uma Musume and... Oh.
Is my mic working now? I'm so used to producing that I'm like, oh shoot, I actually have to have my mic unmuted. That's crazy. Thank you, Kevin. Hopefully it's working now. If not, I might be cooked. We're getting right into it with the first game, Hagglefish Zones.
It's going to be interesting to see if Blue can keep their currently undefeated record. I'm excited. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, it would be kind of cool to, you know, have two undefeated Penn State teams, because we're super cool. Why is the auto cam on? Stop that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we see Blue getting an early cap here, as, you know, we see fairly... I feel like this is a normal comp that we see from PSU Blue here.
Yeah, seems to be their bread and butter comp into a fairly cookie-cutter meta with a Claws 96 and Dapple's Nocti being the only real wildcard pick here. Normally you would see a Nouveau, especially for Zone Cheese. Ooh, a crazy pick with a Suction Bomb, but the Nocti is definitely pushing up and poking their Charger. Gonna take an aggressive hold here.
Yeah, we see the Crapples playing very aggressively, though they are going to get picked off by Fujo and their Charger. PSU Blue opting... They might lose the lead here. It's a little unclear, although I say that, and they are going to immediately get a cap on the zone here. Their lead is no longer as safe, so, you know, Blue should probably try to take some space here, especially as both teams go 2 down.
Yeah, I mean, only a minute into the match, I wouldn't expect many leads to be too safe, but with the enemy team still being 2 down, trying to recover, get on their feet, Silver holding up very far forward. Definitely going to be a bit tricky for the enemy team to take out.
Yeah, unfortunately, they are going to get pushed back, but, you know, as there's only 40 ticks left on the clock, even though Blue goes 2 down, Silver doing some work here. Able to find 2, yes. Although that is going to be 3 down on the side of PSU Blue.
Yeah, still taking a while to actually cap the zone here. Rouge Slider might have been able to do a bit more work than Wales, but either way, Ooh, gets flanked by a decav. One goes down on the side of Bull Squids.
Oh,
two goes down. That is
PSU
3
Sonic
down.
the
That
Hedgehog
is a
able to
huge
find
wipe.
3 there with his decavitator.
Yeah, absolutely decavitating the competition. Surely they won't have any more teeth problems from now on. Leader completely oblivious to the presence of the decav 2 inches to their right. Unfortunately, the decav is out of ink. You hate to see it.
Yeah, Sonic went on a bit of a tear there, able to find pretty much a quad. That is definitely going to help, you know, Blue bring down this penalty here. This blaster is going to find a pick on J13, but they are going to once again go down to Sonic and his big old toothbrush there.
Yeah, they do unfortunately get a zone cap with very little pity. Points are going to start ticking down very soon, but with a massive lead, PSU Blue certainly has time on their side.
Yeah, Sonic once again trying to be a thorn in their side, unfortunately going to get picked off, although this does allow for J13 to, you know, try and get a cap on the zone. Unfortunately, they are going to need to do a bit of extra follow-up in order to actually get the cap here.
Yeah, does manage to land the cap and starts pushing forward, playing very aggressive with their Neo Splash. Barely weaving past this charger. Very impressive movement. I can talk.
Yeah, PSU Blue just tearing up the Bull Squids here. Especially like, you know, the 3 shorter range players. Although they're not really able to fully lock out the Bull Squids, as they are able to retake the zone once again.
Yeah, Silver getting a very quick 2v1 versus, or on the right there. They're going to start immediately pushing up, trying to take as much space as possible, make it as hard for PSU to get the cap back. But looks like they're just kind of stuck in a bit of a neutral spot here. Crab going out, trying to get something done.
Yeah, the Bull Squids getting pretty close to retaking the lead here, as we do see, well, they're going to lose the zone as soon as I say that. But, you know, Blue not really able to hold the zone for very long outside of that the few pushes from the beginning, which is allowing Bull Squids to slowly, you know, shorten that lead and possibly allow for them to completely retake the lead here if they, in the last minute of this game here.
Yeah, absolutely, but does look like the Dapples are going to play a bit too aggressive to get taken out here. With his Crab online and the strikes going out already, might be able to see some kind of action. J13 does get picked though. PSU Blue is now 2 down.
Yeah,
Going to need the Crab to get something miraculous done.
They need to retake the zone quickly here. Unfortunately, they are going to be losing the lead here. And PSU Blue is going to have one chance at actually retaking the zone here, with Sonic trying to make something happen, but unfortunately, I believe this is going to be game 1 in the favor of Bull Squids.
A very tight set here on this first match alone. I'm definitely interested to see what these teams have to offer. They seem much more evenly matched than a clean record would imply.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just because, you know, you haven't really met your match yet doesn't necessarily mean that you're just going to steamroll every single team you run into, you know? Yeah. Like, I mean, even going, like, in terms of our team, you know, we're technically also undefeated right now. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to just steamroll through the rest of playoffs, you know? I mean, like, our last set, like, we had some trouble there against Firefin. You know, just because you're down a game doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, you're completely out of the running quite yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, even then, we are still not the number 1 seed in our division. It does look like they are going to be the number 1 seed in their division if they win this set. But as we just saw there, that is not at all an impossibility.
That would be insane if they were, because I think, as far as I'm aware, they're like the lowest seed in their group, if not the entire division. Blue
Yeah,
is.
they might just be, but...
Although then again, we were
currently
C5 in our group,
rankings.
and look where we are now, so...
Yeah, looking at the rankings here, Bull Squids is third place, but with a 2-1 record, they might not be able to squeak out a win here, with 2 teams already going 4-1 and 4-0.
So Bull Squids is essentially out of playoffs here, is what you're saying?
Most likely. They only have played the 3 matches, so but even if they win the 2 games, having 4 scored against them, they would have to make 2 very clean sweeps to have a chance in the playoffs. Right. Whereas Blue, even losing this match, would still have a pretty good odds.
Yeah, because I think right now, like, they are currently 4-0 last I checked.
Yeah, Blue is currently 4-0. This actually is their only other lost match and outside of the playoffs.
Hey, that sounds like I need to stop like
maybe we lost 2.
I'm not I don't have a huge ego, I swear. My ego is
no bias, but we're also cooking.
Hell. Anyway, we were yapping so much about placements and stuff, we never got around to the map mode.
It's Museum Clams, another long-range favorite map. Going for Pencil and Splat Roller, definitely interesting.
Yup, and we have a DC.
And a DC. Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Looks like they are going to be running this map back. I wonder if they had a sub, or if this is actually just a DC.
I would imagine that was a DC. If there was a sub, they probably would have done that before they actually went and got started.
Yeah, I mean, it is always possible, though.
Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of shenanigans last night with I think it was the fish with like a DC and like combined with subbing. I believe that DC was on the side of, I think that was on Bull Squids' side.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I just realized I forgot to turn on color lock again. God damn it. I'm throwing. First it was my mic, and now it's me forgetting color lock.
It's fine, just change the colors on the menu on the side.
Oh, true. It's not like one of them is Alpha and the other is Bravo.
Nope.
Anyway, going right back into it here. No comp changes. The Crapples are back in the game. No DCs yet, but even then, that would be Bull Squids' one.
Yeah, that would be an auto forfeit if they DC again.
Yeah, they just have to hope that they don't DC again, because yeah, that would be really rough for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Just both teams immediately going 1 down. Ooh, Bull Squid's going 2 down at the start of the match. Unfortunately, with PSU Blue still being 1 down, that might be a bit hard to come back from, but definitely not out of the running yet.
Yeah, we are seeing Sonic pull out the V-Wiper, which I believe is something that they've been working on this season. Like, you know, before we would only ever see them play, like, Cav. But,
yeah, it's definitely a powerful weapon, especially into this comp with how mobile and how efficient it is at kiting the shorter range weapons like Dapples and Roller.
Yeah, definitely. Especially since we see Bull Squids are bringing out a Roller here. Able to find one, trying to jump around this flash wall. They are going to get, like, poked off.
Just struggling to move around.
I'll just jump in.
Yeah, jump in the basket, though.
I'm just going to jump.
Yeah, a very powerful bubbler gonna get them a free extra points, but doesn't look like it's gonna get them the ball in.
Yeah, Bull Squid starting off with a pretty decent first push here. It's not the safest lead, as all Blue really has to do is get one really good push in, and then that'll be you know, that could be the end of the game for them.
Yeah, absolutely, but with Museum being such a hard map to score on, it really will just come down to... I don't want to say luck, since obviously it is mostly skill. It is effectively luck as to whether or not they can actually get that proper push.
Yeah,
Immediately, someone is going and pushing up their basket, is not able to make a decisive hold there, but is definitely able to create a bit of an opening for their Charger to take mid.
Yeah, we saw Blue playing a little separately there, despite being numbers down. Despite that, they are able to retake mid here and gain control of the clam economy.
Yeah, which is always huge, especially on a map like Museum. The more clams you have when you make that push, the better, since you might not be able to hold the basket for long, but if you can hold it long enough just to score what you have, that is going to be huge points.
Yeah, speaking of scoring, it seems like this is Blue's chance to push up with 3 down on the side of Bull Squids and the hammer coming out. Now is their chance to take the lead, which is exactly what they do.
Yeah, that is a very potent lead there
Oh.
at 62 points and counting.
There goes
Sonic trying to jump back and grab the pity clam. Might be able to make it in, but definitely going to be a bit fishy.
Yeah, no, it seems like
does
this
not-
might be the end of this push there, as PSU Blue is going to get wiped out. This is both Squids' chance to retake control of the clam economy and mid. They might not be able to make a counter push, especially as PSU Blue is already back on their plat. But losing mid,
Yeah, absolutely.
but gaining control of mid is definitely, you know, a crucial first step to getting that counter push in.
Yeah, 100%. Throwing Cooler up on their plat, trying to encourage your team to take a push, but it gets flanked out by the Wiper. Looks like this push is going to start having to die down here as their teams are getting separated in the middle.
Yeah, definitely. With both teams going 2 down, and eventually, I guess, both Squids going 2 down just themselves, we are starting to see PSU Blue quickly retake control of mid here. I say that as the Pro gets a double and starts popping Aura.
Yeah, the Pro absolutely cooking Blue right now. Definitely going to need to do something to deal with it. With the Booyah coming out, though, that might be easier said than done.
Yeah, it's like both Squids has had the control of mid for a while now, with maybe only losing it briefly, and yet only now they're starting to get another push in. And even then, they're going to immediately go 3 down, which is pretty much going to put a stop to this push and give PSU Blue free access in the mid and all of those juicy clams.
Yeah, although they are able to
said
tie
that.
up the game, going up to... Still going to get the +1 tiebreaker, going to need to score a power clam and 1 extra clam, but definitely closer than it was before.
Yeah, I'm just
getting
not
that second
realizing
ball in
how
was
close
huge.
they were to retaking the lead here. PSU Blue probably should try to opt for another push if they want, because that lead is not safe.
Yeah, like I said, just 1 clam, 1 power clam and 1 regular clam is going to be enough to swap lead here. With only 20 seconds on the clock, probably won't have time to switch it back unless they do something first.
Yeah, definitely. We see Blue trying to play aggressively here. They are going to find 2 or 3 on the side of both Squids.
Yeah,
which
doesn't look like both Squids have their pity though, so that is going to be the end of the match here without any overtime.
They used their pity clam? I did not notice.
Yeah, they jumped at their pity to get down to 47.
Oh, so they lost that overtime.
Yeah, did not have the
PSU
overtime,
Blue
so very
just
strong hold.
Barely scraping by with 1 point there. I can't believe it took me like a solid 30 seconds for me to actually notice that. Yeah. Little tidbit I'm seeing from Galaxy Kirby that both Squids probably would have gotten the lead if they had cleared the right side of Spitter and like weren't so rushed and like hesitating, which I mean honestly fair. Like that game was like pretty much it was Blue getting an early lead and then kind of being on the back foot for like the entire second half of that game there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am now also receiving word from J Money that this PSU Blue is clinched and both Squids can steal a spot from Are You Ready if they win their last 2 games by a +5 score differential. So yeah, definitely a difficult spot for Blue. And an extra difficult spot for both Squids.
Right, so whoever wins the set essentially will be guaranteed a playoff spot.
Maybe.
Perchance.
It depends on both Squids overall playing, like how well they play, but
Right.
either way, definitely still pretty good.
Yeah, I guess this is probably the most very important set for both teams in that case. We are moving on to PC Mako Mart.
Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I feel like Mako Mart in general is just the battlefield of Splatoon. Every map mode except for Rainmaker is pretty viable, and even if buckets are exceptionally powerful on it, no one really has many negative opinions about this map, other than it being a tad bland.
I mean, I find it a little claustrophobic sometimes, but honestly, maybe that's part of the appeal, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this is Splatoon 3. That's probably a little claustrophobic. Is probably better than half the maps in the game. Let's be honest here.
Fair enough. We didn't really see either team pull out buckets in previous games, and it seems like that's going to be the case here as well. With PSU Blue sticking with, you know, very similar comps that they've been playing before. And I believe
deciding to go for backs on both sides, though, which is definitely interesting to notice. Also, C-Blast switching to a V-Blast instead.
Yeah, I was about to say that, like, both Squids, it seems like they're running the same main weapons, but different kits.
Yeah, they got the cooler Dapples, the VAC 96, and the Bubble Blaster, which is definitely interesting. And PSU Blue is running the Charcoal Decav for Inkjet.
Yeah, we do see Blue get an early lead here as both Squids went 2 down, but it seems like now it's PSU Blue going 2 down. Sonic able to find one on the, I believe that was the 96, but they are going to get quickly picked off by the Blaster.
Yeah, absolutely, but definitely a very solid first push. Getting past that first check, kind of huge. Most matches don't get past the second one, so even just a little bit past first is huge.
Yeah, I do notice that with PSU Blue, they tend to have very fast openings, but then they kind of start to slow down a little bit during the middle and even the end of the game, which I believe is, you know, we saw it on Hagglefish, and then I think we did see it again on Museum, and you know, it worked out on Museum, but it didn't work out so super well on Hagglefish. So we just have to see if that trend, I guess, continues.
It'll also be important to notice if Bull Squids actually starts taking notice of that trend, starts playing a bit more defensive
and a bit of a back off there.
Yeah, just sucking each other off. Gotta love it. We love Splatoon being everyone's favorite kids game that everyone pretends isn't a kids game.
True.
Still, Blaster getting double teamed here, and the jumps getting camped. There's going to be a wipe for PSU Blue. This might be huge points for Bull Squids if they could make a proper push here.
Yeah, definitely. They might at the very least get to this first checkpoint. With having a Blaster here, it is going to be kind of hard to deal with them there, although we are seeing, you know, the VAT coming out, trying to take advantage of these strikes, but they are going to get picked off by Sonic's Decav.
Yeah, the Decav versus InkVac matchup, notoriously a bad matchup, and definitely showing it here with them trying to make something happen on tower and just no one being able to follow up as the back gets soloed out and picked off. But still trying to continue the push. It's definitely, it gets past first check, which is kind of huge.
Yeah, Cooler is going to come out as well as a VAC from Bull Squids' 96. Zuka able to find one, although they are going to, you know, they aren't really able to stop Mud's Bull Squids. I don't know why I keep calling that. I keep wanting to say like Mudkips. I don't know why. I am sorry, Bull Squids. I think I'm just tweaking out a little bit.
Either way, they get to they get to second check, but aren't able to make any progress on it. Not quite catching the lead, but is still going to try and keep this push up, despite being numbers down.
Yeah, Bull Squids not really letting up here. Is that 96 running Thermal Ink? Okay, no, I don't think they are. I'm tweaking. I'm
also,
sorry.
the reason you're calling the Mudkip is because the 96 is named.
Yeah, I switch over to the 96. I'm like, oh, that's why I keep wanting to say. I keep wanting to call them Mudkips.
Yeah.
I might have accidentally.
But anyways, now
called them
PSU Blue making a bit of a counter push. Definitely huge.
Yeah, I mean,
might be able to score some points with strikes going online. They are 2 down, but they're able to take one off of Bull Squid. Starts trying to push this Blaster to stop them from pressuring tower, but not able to find them.
Yeah, we did see another VAC off there. And, you know, Blue's lead is no longer super safe as Bull Squids are able to get it down to 40.
Yeah, they have Splash trying to anchor for their team, but does get rushed down by the Blaster. You hate to see it. But now it's a very potent, potential for a very potent counter push here. But Bull Squids immediately goes 2 down. Able to trade that out with PSU Blue. Now Blue is at numbers at disadvantage. But the tower, no one's on tower, so they're going to need to get something done fast here with only 41 seconds left.
Yeah, these teams here are just trading left and right, it seems like. With neither really able to fully, you know, stop this push. Decav able to find a pick on the VAC, and that is going to be a wipeout on the side of Bull Squids. That's going to be hard for them to recover from, as they only have 20 seconds left to retake control of this tower, and I don't see Blue letting it be super easy on them.
Yeah. Blaster does immediately take their stack, though. One hell of a key position on this map, but immediately gets too over-aggressive on the splash and gets punished for it. Still, Bullsquid's trying to ride the tower, gets counter-sniped. This is going to be a perfect opportunity with the GG strikes coming out, and that will be game 3 going to PSU Blue.
Yeah, that was, we did kind of see a little bit of the same, like I was mentioning earlier, where Blue gets an early lead, and then Bullsquid's able to kind of start to form their own counter push. They did get close to retaking the lead there a couple of times, but they just were never able to quite get there, especially as PSU Blue actually managing to get another push off of them right there.
Yeah, even if it only gained them like 3 extra points, it is still also, remember, in order to gain those 3 extra points, you're now putting tower all the way back on the other side of the map, meaning they now have to push it all the way back over just to try and score any points, which is definitely what started to run out the clock there.
Yeah, I think kind of like you mentioned during one of the sets we did last night, which, I mean, they're all blending together. Basically, it's like, oh, if you have the Rainmaker, or in this case, the tower on the other side of the map, you don't have to go from 100 to 0. You have to go from, like, -99 to 0.
Yeah, absolutely. And that extra amount of time, it just gives the enemy team more time to respawn, and definitely a bit tough.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, speaking of Rainmaker Scorch! This is very, very snowbally map here. But I mean, I enjoy it. I like playing on Rainmaker Scorch.
I definitely like PSU Blue's odds, since they're shown to be running a very aggressive comp with a very good vac weapon in the form of V-Charger and a very good bubble weapon with Decav. Although both specials have also been seeded from the side of Bullsquid, so I don't think they would quite have the specials advantage here.
Yeah, definitely. I think the main goal here for Blue is they have to be sure that they continue to, work together, because maybe part of the reason why they tend to struggle a bit as the game goes on is they probably, start to kind of play a little more alone, which, makes it harder to really get those pushes going. But, Rainmaker, I know at least one of these guys really likes this mode, so we'll just have to see if, they are able to
having experience with the
game
mode definitely will help you. Ooh, we see a Wiper coming out instead of the bubble Decav. Definitely an interesting pick, but with the enemy team comps that Bullsquids have shown to run on these kinds of maps, I definitely think it's the right choice.
Yeah, honestly, like, Rainmaker is probably one of those modes where you don't necessarily need the bubble, Having that that hammer can also help with getting in, which is probably what they're trying to use this weapon for.
Yeah, that, and it is very good at spacing out those Dapples and Blaster, especially if they can take an advantageous fight against this pro. It's really a good weapon into all of the enemy team's comps, and unlike the Decav, it doesn't risk being called out as much, since it's much more survivable.
Yeah, speaking of...
Either way, enough yapping. They're starting to get a very potent check here, with starting to push up very far.
Bullsquids have been, like, two or three down, like, the entire game so far. Vac coming out. This might be a knockout for PSU Blue if they're able to get it all the way up, which it seems like they are going to eventually get picked off, leaving just Silver, who is going to be wiped out. This is a huge first push for Blue, as we have seen in our previous games.
Yeah, getting it down to 11, definitely a strong lead, and even if they do get wiped and start getting set up for a counter push, that is still a very long ways that they have to go, and with a lot less of the absolutely explosive momentum. Oh, that isn't... I didn't even notice, but that is a very early vac from the Charger. They're not going to really have vac ready for the actual push coming up.
Yeah, Bullsquids are moving pretty slow here. Like, they have Blue pushed into their spawn, but they're only now grabbing the Rainmaker. That might make it harder for them to actually get a push. And I say, as PSU Blue goes 3 down, it is just the Decav, or not the Decav, the Wiper.
Yeah, I mean, they're basically the same weapon, but
slow here, which is honestly probably not going to be great for them, as they are going to start going down.
Yeah, definitely wasting a lot of those golden opportunities they were creating, and eventually just gets totally wiped here. That is going to be a strong counter push with only the first check lost.
Yeah, that plus the Rainmaker getting reset here. Let's see if our local Rainmaker main can, you know, make something happen here. I might be glazing Sonic a little bit here, but it's just I know he likes Rainmaker. I know it's his mode. He is able to get, and that's gonna be another wipe
Oh, that's
out.
a huge wipe. Unfortunately, the Charger is the one carrying Rainmaker, so they're not going to be able to make a proper back push here. But either way, going to get pretty far. Not quite enough to score extra points, but with Silver in a very oppressive position. That is a second wipe, and that might just be game. That is game 4 going to PSU Blue very decisively, with both Squids now on match point.
That was a very dominant win from PSU Blue there. You know, we saw it once again. They had, you know, the very early lead there, getting it all the way down to 11. And, you know, you don't really need to push past that point. But, you know, I think Blue was probably like, hey, you know what? I think we could knock this out. So,
you know, it's safer than a lead of 11, a lead of 0.
What they ended up doing.
You know, it's better than a lead of 11, a lead of 0. You can't really beat that, can you?
Well, I mean, wouldn't a lead of 0 just be a tie?
No, I meant, sorry, not a lead by 0, a lead 2-0, but yes. Anyways, now on to Zone Ship Shape, probably one of the more divisive maps in this list. What are your thoughts?
I think Bull Squids is making a sub here. I didn't quite catch who was being pulled out, but the only reason I know it was from Bull Squids is because PSU Blue runs a hardcore.
Oh, that's your Charger being subbed out.
Yeah, I unfortunately missed. I think they're bringing
it's a Charger.
Sindlin. I think they were the ones who were just brought in.
Yeah, but either way, they're now dropping their Charger. Something that Ivy would definitely approve of, but I have been told numerous times now that most leaders actually quite like Ship Shape, so I'm definitely interested in that decision.
I mean, that does kind of make sense, because most of the map is pretty flat. And, you know, those bridges can provide pretty decent, like, perches. So I could see this, you know, being a pretty decent Charger leader map. PSU Blue going into this with some confidence. You can't see it on screen. They just readied up right away, while Bull Squids, they're taking their time. They need to cook a little bit.
Yeah, definitely confident in their team comp. I mean, we've seen so far that besides for that one Hagglefish game, that might just been a fluke for PSU Blue.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Blue has been very decisive here.
Yeah, it is going to come down to this game, because if PSU Blue is able to win here, that is going to, you know, kind of cut off any hopes that Bull Squids had at making playoffs here. So, you know, Bull Squids probably, you know, taking their time, making sure that they know what comp they want to run, because they need to win here.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going right into it. Ship-shaped zones, my beloved. Rapid Blaster. That's like a PSU white-ass comp there. Minus the Dynamo Roller.
Yeah, Dynamo, Rapid, and Shot. It's definitely interesting weapons to switch to, but definitely ones with merit. They are very good into their comp. Besides for the Charger, they are good into shooters and pretty good into a Splatana. Immediately, we can see the Blaster trying to poke Sonic up on their bridge.
Yeah, PSU Blue getting an early cap on the zone here. However, they are going to go 2 down, 1 to the Suzuka from the Shot. And this is probably going to be, you know, not Mud, I keep wanting to say Mudcaps. Bull Sharks is, you know, their chance to get a push here, although they are going to get a little bit of a penalty.
Yeah, either way, though, they're starting off a very oppressive hold, and on a very lockout-heavy map like this, is going to take some good special coordination on the part of PSU Blue to get anything done here.
Oh, definitely.
That way, both Squids starting to rush forward, getting picked off, just leaving the 2 anchors, with the strikes immediately panning back zone, and the decals starting to push up to try and take advantage of this opening.
Oh yeah, now it's PSU's Blue, it's Blue's chance to, you know, it's their turn for a push, as they are able to push pretty far up. Unfortunately, they are going to go 2 down, which is going to allow Bull Squids to try and retake the zone, although they are a little slow, allowing the lead to flip here.
Yeah, but either way, with 3 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock, they are in no way crunched for time, and with the penalty being so low still, definitely not one of their highest concerns, as PSU Blue is 3 down, goes 3 down again, while just after the next one respawns. They are hard staggered at the moment, giving Bull Squids just enough time for the lead to flip once more.
Yeah, the delayed wipe is not good for Blue here, as... oh, I poked my mic there. As they are able to... As Blue is able to find one off of Bull Squids and are going to retake the zone, but now they do have a bit of an uphill battle, as now Bull Squids has a pretty decisive lead here.
Yeah, although PSU Blue immediately goes 2 down with a trade, it looks like Bull Squids is going to be able to take this zone back just barely, but it's definitely taking them a hot minute, giving the rest of Blue enough time to respawn, as their Charger is able to fend them off for making any kind of space.
Yeah.
Speaking of Charger, they immediately get picked off, but the decap gets 2, starts making a lot of momentum and taking a lot of space for Blue as they get the zone back.
Yeah, decap from Sonic putting the work in here, as, you know, I believe him getting, like, doubles here is what is allowing his team to push back in here with his really aggressive playstyle.
Yeah, unfortunately, is going to go down, and with PSU Blue quickly crumbling behind him, there's going to be another zone flip, and even more penalty for PSU Blue to have to chew through. Not what you want to see if you're Blue.
Yeah, this is looking like a little bit of a repeat of, you know, Hagglefish, where it's like Blue just seems to struggle with holding the zone for super long periods of time. Especially as, at this point, like, it's not looking good. They're going to have to make a move now if they want to have a chance at getting this lead, as the clock is ticking down. J13 trying to solo cap here. Because, you know, if Bull Squids gets this cap here, yeah, they're going to just start running away with this, as I believe this is going to be a knockout for the Bull Squids.
Yeah, a very decisive showing from Bull Squids on this 5th match. Now with a 3-2 set, it looks like they might have a chance at coming back with this match, but still on match point, sitting at the edge of their seat.
If we go to another Game 7, so help me.
Does seem to be the pattern here, but it will help us test that our favorite Penn State University Splatoon Undertow Spillway Tower Control Knockout Theory.
Oh yeah, if you saw that acronym that I put in the announcement, it's that. I will allow -E to explain it, because...
essentially, I have seen Penn State play on Tower Control Undertow about 3 times now, and all 3 times have all ended with a very decisive 0 to 100 knockout push. So, yeah. Definitely looks like this might be the same case here, but we're going to have to see as we're going into Game 6 on Crab Leg Clams.
Yeah, I know this is your favorite map mode.
Yeah, another very decisive map, and I definitely love it, and I'm definitely not biased whatsoever by the fact that I play a weapon that can just... Yeah, it's not like I can just, like, shield launch up the ramp to take a bunch of space for free and then bubble under basket and take basket for free with absolutely no effort or counterplay. No, that would be silly.
Something Tent or Dread or something. Dwidwingo.
I'm talking about Cycle, but yeah.
Still Brella shenanigans there.
Yeah, a bit of Brella shenanigans. Brella is definitely a potent weapon on this map mode, even if it's not good on greats on paper. But with the fact that every Brawler loves running a copious amount of run speed, greats tend to still be a fairly good map element for them.
I think
heading into this match, what are you expecting here?
Well, I mean, it seems like I don't think these players are really changing their comps up a ton here. We are seeing a Stamper come out
Pro and a Rapid Pro from... I just realized if Sonic went decav, then Blue would be running Quad Suction Bomb. But still not quite it. Either way, a Stamper and a Rapid Pro from Blue is definitely a bit of a mix-up.
Yeah, definitely. This is the first time that we're seeing Fujo here not playing a Charger, instead of opting for a Rapid Pro.
Yeah, immediately getting pressured by the Zuka. Thankfully, he's able to stay alive. But with the vac coming out, it looks like they're trying to make something happen, but not quite able to do much. With the ball getting immediately picked off. Ooh, Vac getting a huge double, this might just be the momentum that they need.
Yeah, although Silver is kind of camping their ball there, which is going to slow down the Bull Squids just enough to, you know, shut down that push and let PSU regroup.
Yeah, and Bull Squid's now just trying to scramble to get any amount of clams, but with it being so early into the match, most of them haven't had time to respawn yet.
Pretty much, and we are seeing, you know, Bull Squid still having a decisive control over mid. It is going to be pretty hard to push up with this Dynamo Roller and the Vac coming back out. PSU's been one down for this entire game so far, as this is going to allow the Bull Squids to actually get a push in here.
Yeah, absolutely, and start scoring huge amounts of points. Not even bothering to stagger their clams in. They know they won't hold this for long, but even then, they're holding it for just long enough to score 40, to score down to 41, which is kind of huge.
Yeah, this is going to make it really hard for PSU Blue, as I'd imagine at this point, you know, the Bull Squids, they're probably just going to be holding mid as much as they can. Like, even if they can't get another push in, you know, like, they have such a huge lead that they can probably get away with not really doing any more pushing. As now it's PSU Blue having to go into that.
Yeah, absolutely. And with a comp of Dynamo and Rapid Pro, that is not the kind of comp you want to have to push into. Also, the Booyah Bomb getting hard shredded here, not even having a chance to throw it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Bull Squids are trying to go for another push, as PSU Blue is all pushed up onto their plat at the moment. Able to find one, and yeah, they're going to get another score here.
Yeah, the Dapple's getting two. This is going to be... Their comp is just kind of holding down PSU Blue, not really letting their hyper-aggressive comp get any kind of momentum here. Almost wondering if Silver is contemplating a Dynamo counter pick to try and stave off any kind of momentum Bull Squid is trying to run here.
Yeah, it does seem like once they brought in that Dynamo Roller, PSU Blue has been having a lot more trouble against this team. That might be why maybe they pulled out the Blaster. Although Blue has been, like, on the weapon select screen, they've been very fast in picking their weapons, so this is probably just something that they had planned out ahead of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Although, looks like Blue is going to start trying to take mid, but instead of trying to just sit here and paint, they're going for a sneaky push. Not quite what I would do. I would try to get a more decisive hold, especially on a team so capable of taking advantage of stray ink puddles.
Oh, definitely. They are able to start, you know, taking picks off of the Bull Squids, but it's not quite enough for them to, you know, completely take control of mid here. They are starting to get most of it. The strikes coming out. This is probably their chance at making a push happen here.
Yeah, this is probably the best they're going to get, but even then, the Vac immediately shutting down any chance they have at making a proper push, and the Blaster immediately clearing their ramp, getting two. That is going to be a dead push and a free pity from PSU Blue to Bull Quids. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, PSU Blue getting delayed wiped here is not what you want to see if you are PSU. As there's only 1 minute left on the clock, and the only scoring they've done being a single power clam. They're going to have a pretty rough uphill battle ahead of them, especially because at this point, Bull Squids are definitely going to try and just, you know, hold the line, as J Money would put it.
Yeah, I mean, they really don't need to make much of a push, and given they're already numbers up and a 30 seconds left, it is definitely just going to be a hold kind of situation, something their comp is very capable of doing with both a Rapid Pro and a Dynamo Roller.
Yeah, definitely, especially as PSU goes 3 down, it is just the shot here, and they are also going to get picked off.
Looks like they're going for a last-second push here. Does get shut down by the strikes, but even though then being locked in their base, and they get this basket open, that is going to be game here if they could score one clam, and there it is.
I think the time ran out there.
Time ran. No, they scored a single clam. No, they scored a single clam in overtime.
The time ran out.
Yeah, it was overtime. But either way, very strong last-second push by Bull Squids. That was going to put it to Game 7.
Yeah, we're getting into yet another Game 7 situation between these two teams, which is probably going to be a pretty big factor in if these teams are going to make playoffs or not. So, you know, it is once again back in the Game 7 building again.
Yeah, definitely.
I swear, I think our set was the only one that didn't go to a Game 7 out of all the PSU teams.
Yeah, literally. It's the only game that didn't go match. It's the only one that never went to Game 7, and even then we did a play-all.
Yeah, well, I mean, play-alls are just for fun.
I mean, yeah, of course. They went sploosh
if we
on
had
Underco
gone
Tower,
to a Game
but still.
7, I would have been, like, crashing out. Game 7s are stressful.
Yeah, Game 7s are always a bit of a rough time. I mean, hell, we went to a Game 6, and that was scary, but...
Yeah. That was against
even then, I was
AC.
mostly just a cheerleader at that point, so I didn't really care much.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. Honestly, I'm just glad we didn't have to fight Michigan, because we might have had a tough match against Michigan, as if I'm on Dread, and I was on Umbrella at the time. But anyways, don't ignore that if you're Michigan. We're not telling you that we skipped out of an easy win for you guys. Nope, not at all.
God damn it. I don't want to think about that mess anymore.
Nah, it's fine. I'm just picking on you. But anyways, going into Undertow Tower Control, one of my now favorite map modes for how consistently it's ended in knockouts. The only match you've seen so far was High Tide Terps versus Turnpike, which neither of them are PSU teams, hence where the Penn State University Splatoon part of my theory comes from.
Yeah,
But-
I was basically doing a favor for a friend last night and dragged E with me. So
Very consensually dragged me there.
very consensually. Because I asked you, you're like, I have homework to do, and I'm like, oh, you don't have to commentate if you don't want to, and then you just stuck around anyway, so...
Yeah, I mean, and now the only reason I'm commentating is my arm fucking hurts. But anyways, going into Game 7, neither team really mixing it up too much. Sticking with the Rapid Pro on both sides, though.
Yeah, I think I don't think there are any comp changes from last time, except
No,
for
this is
the
the same
sword
comps.
here.
I mean, yeah, the sword did change from a stamper to a decav. Definitely a bit of a stronger pick on this map. Looks like it's going to try and get something done on the Zuka. Does get a trade, and trading with the special is almost always favorable, but the back now immediately taking advantage of the lack of a decav, as Squids is going to start getting an early push here.
Yeah, PSU Blue going 2 down, although they are able to quickly retake mid here. Only really... Oh, it was Blue who was pushing the tower there, getting it down to...
Oh, wait, they were. Wait a minute, hold up.
First checkpoint.
Very interesting, but now Blue taking a more decisive hold on tower as they are beginning to push up. This might be the starts of a knockout push. I don't know about you.
Yeah,
Wouldn't keep your hopes up, though, with
we
how
are
even
hoping
these
that this
teams
is the
have been so
PSU
far.
knockout push, as this Zuka able to find one, although PSU Blue getting slowed down a little bit here at the checkpoints. Bombs coming out.
Yeah.
I don't know how either of those two lived.
Hey, it's a tower pole. They're just behind the tower pole. Either way, Silver trying to hit the 360 on them. Not going to hit it. Don't know what they were doing there. But either way, this is going to be PSU decisively pushed off of tower at 36 points.
Yeah, PSU getting delay wiped there, thanks to this shot kind of coming in from behind. They are not able to knock out here. It's not looking good for the knockout theory, guys.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I've seen them knock out at crazier point thresholds, so I'm not quite losing hope yet. But either way, this splatter shot trying to shark, but getting called out, having to back up. Now it is just PSU playing a bit of a defense here, trying to poke as best as they can with this drop being very dangerous here with both the Rapid Dynamo and Dapples here.
Yeah. Honestly, the Blaster is probably a better pick on TC compared to Clam Blitz, just because of how good Blasters are just at poking the tower, you know? At least...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can see that here with them clearing off the tower twice now just by shooting at it. Though with the back coming out, that's going to be like a bit more difficult for PSU, as they might be able to catch second check here. Does get taken out by the decav, as PSU immediately starts pushing up, trying to take them out of mid. Does get the picks. Now with Bull Squids at 3 down.
Yeah, Bull Squid's going 3 down. This is going to allow for PSU to possibly make another push here, as, again, their lead is no longer very safe. Trying to, you know, get
Bull
those...
Squids does still have that second check to go through, though.
That is true, but, I mean, it's still not not the safest lead there.
Yeah, still not a very safe lead, especially with PSU immediately going 1 down, but Bull Squids going 2 down definitely has a chance to take something back here.
Yeah. Why am I yawning? Okay. We're seeing the strikes coming out from PSU, and then we're seeing the vac immediately come out on the side of Bull Squids. Although it seems like PSU's going to go 3 down. It is just the blaster, and they're getting rushed down by this shot here.
Yeah, forced to jump out. I mean, it's a good jump out, focusing your life there especially, but either way, this is going to now be a lot of momentum for Bull Squids. With 2 more picks on their side, that is going to be huge. Dapple's trying to get a third, but not quite finding it.
Yeah, PSU starting to stagger a little bit, as that is going to be the lead flip for the side of Bull Squids here.
Yeah, definitely not what you want to see if you're blue, but still not quite game over quite yet. I mean, both teams having already taken out second check, that does still give them the chance to make some kind of counter push. But with only a minute left on the clock here, that is going to be rough, especially with PSU immediately going 2 down again. This might be the set.
Yeah, as we only have about 40 seconds left on the clock here, and Bull Squids not letting up the momentum, continuing to try and push this tower. PSU, they're seemingly in a bit of a stagger loop right now, as they seem to be constantly 1 down. I say that as Castana gets a triple here. It is just the shot. This is PSU's chance to make a push happen.
Yeah, the riding tower to get it back to mid just that little bit faster, but still going to have to make this push in overtime with but thankfully their team doesn't quite have a GG special in the same way that PSU does.
Yeah, well, the shot is going to go down, which is going to make this push just that much harder. And then the suction bomb finding 1. This might be the game here, as Bull Squids are able to touch the tower at the end there, giving them this Game 7 win and disproving the TC Undertow knockout theory.
Yeah, the theory does seems to be thoroughly and truly dead, as Undertow tower control games surprisingly do not have to end in knockout. I am now going to roast Nintendo and make a call-out post on Twitter.com about how they proved my theory wrong, but that's for another time.
So rude of them, how dare.
Yeah, like how dare that my theory not be correct, and that matches on a random map mode do not always end in a knockout. But anyways, any thoughts on the set now, after it's done?
Yeah, that was a surprisingly close set. I don't think we really expected yet another Game 7, although at this point, I've seen literally 4 in a row, so who knows?
Yeah, I mean, at this point though, this is going to be Penn State's first loss, but they can at least know that they went out kicking.
Yeah, definitely. PSU Blue, I don't remember what you said earlier. I think they still will have a chance at
They're still very likely
here.
to get into the playoffs, but Bull Squids does have a chance to take it from them, but they will need a fairly high win rate in this next match here. Likely a 4-0, but I'm not quite sure.
Yeah,
Looking at the sets here, Are You Ready is 4-1 with 8 scored against, and PSU Blue now 4-1 with 5 scored against. So still likely to get a spot in playoffs, given they are number 1. So it looks like Bull Squids is just going to have to fight with Are You Ready to get slightly to go 4-0 here, with there being 7 scored against.
Yeah, especially since Bull Squids is going to, win any tiebreakers there at this point in order to take, I believe that would be the number 2 seed in that group, taking a look at the leaderboard right now. Yeah, PSU Blue still having a good chance. Getting word from Jay that PSU Blue is clinched, and Bull Squids actually would be stealing the spot from Are You Ready if they win the last 2 games by +5 score differentials. So Blue is confirmed, I think, for playoffs here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is unfortunate they lose their last group game, but they'll be able to make up for it in playoffs, bet.
This is true, and I'm definitely excited to see what PSU Blue can do in playoffs, but it is definitely, at this rate, it's definitely going to be a tough fight.
Yeah, definitely. We wish PSU Blue good luck in playoffs. Like you guys played really well today. Like those were some close games. I think what happened there was I think they were starting to kind of, I think maybe the nerves were getting to them near the end there, and so they started having a bit more trouble against this team. Both Squids also played really well. Wish you guys luck.
Yeah, I really think it was the weapon counter pick there that PSU just did not have an answer to Dynamo Rapid Blaster.
Yeah, I mean that is kind of where it started going downhill.
Yeah, and I think with PSU only having the 4 members, not having someone to sub out to that might play a weapon better into that comp definitely hurt a bit.
Yeah, definitely. Good luck to Bull Squids with their remaining sets. They have a bit of an uphill battle ahead of them if they want to try and take the playoff spot from Are You Ready? And I think it's about time we start to wrap this up here. Minus E, where can they find you via socials?
So I'm on the planet Earth. Not Mars quite yet, but you know, yeah, I'm on Discord. I don't have a YouTube channel. Don't go and find it.
Okay.
But anyways, where can we find you, our gracious hope, Hypnova?
Well, you're already on my YouTube channel. That's my primary social. I mean, I can also be found on Discord as well. I am probably going to start doing more individual streaming, especially because I'm getting a new capture card so that my stream quality is better. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning into this last minute kind of stream for our PSU Blue folks here. And thank you, Minus E, for last minute showing up despite you literally doing like 4 hours straight of commentary yesterday.
Yeah, no problem. I enjoy commentating. It's more fun than I thought. But anyways, great work out there, PSU Blue. Great work out there, Bull Squids, Blue Squids, Mud Squids, Blue Bull Kids. I don't know. But good luck out there. Congrats on the 3-4 victory, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see ya.